Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my lovely co-pilots. I have Mr. Greenbean to my this way. I have Mr. Richie to my that way. Greenbean, how you doing tonight?
Me, I'm good, man. This is exciting. We get Richie tonight. Matt couldn't make it, but man, is it always nice to talk Jets with Richie. I'm excited.
Richie, thank you for hopping in with us. How you doing tonight, brother?
First time on the new Talkin' Jets YouTube channel. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm thankful that Matt has a place to be tonight so I can fill in. And thank you guys for inviting me onto the show. Always a pleasure. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Training camp opens tomorrow. Vibes are high. Let's go, boys. Can't wait to talk Jets with you guys.
Chat, if you're just hopping in here, make sure you hit that like button for us on the way. And if you're listening to this after the fact, make sure you drop a comment down below. Get entered into next week's t-shirt giveaway. Boys and girls, we are doing our ticket group buy. Bam! It's pinned in the live chat. Jets Chargers. Go to talkinjets.com if you want to get in on that. Very excited. Limited amount of tickets available for that. Fun fact, it's actually the Monday prior to Election Day. So most schools and things like that have off on that Tuesday. So kind of fun. Just noticed that the other day, actually. Did not plan it that way, but it's nice when things work out that way. Greenbean, I want to hear from you. How are you excited for this Charger game? I know we've been getting amped up a little bit. Actually, we just got some news. We were originally going to go on the field after the game. We're going to go on the field before the game now. Monday Night Football, they're like, yo, you guys coming out? Like, upgrade your tickets. You get the pre-game entertainment. So, Greenbean, you excited for that?
I am, man. It's, I at least the way I understand it, right? I'm old and I'm slow and I don't know what things like hit me up on my jack mean. I don't know what this means. Reach out to my jack like Sauce Gardner sent to Tariq Woolen. But I think the way that it is, like when you walk into before the game, you see the guys walking through this like tunnel and there's like the glass walls and all the fans are there beating on the thing and they're high-fiving through the glass. Where it's going to be us. So I think that's what it is, right, Ryan? Isn't that what we get to do? Isn't that sounds super cool to me?
I don't actually know. They kind of described it to me, and it sounds really exciting. And they're like, "We're upgrading you," and I was like, "Oh, I'm so excited!" Like, sure, sign me up. I don't know, but it's better. I figure Monday Night Football, we're gonna get out of there at like 12 o'clock, so like go before on the field is probably a better move.
It does make sense. It's not a 1 o'clock game. You know what I mean? It's not even a 4 o'clock game. It's a 8:30 game or whatever it is, 8:20. So yeah. You want to be able to get out of there, do all your fun stuff before the game. And but I'm just, dude, I love going up there. You guys know I'm not in the area, right? So I love being able to go up there, spend a few days, meet all the Jets fans. We do things beforehand on the weekend, and it's going to be amazing, dude, just to get there. We're hanging out with Tailgate Joe, which I haven't hung out with Tailgate Joe since 2009, dude. Like that's the last time that I hit a Tailgate Joe tailgate. So I'm excited to get to go over there with everybody. And dude, Monday Night Football, we don't get many of those, and now we're going to be there, and we're going to kick the shit out of the Chargers. I know it. I'm confident.
Let's go.
I'm looking forward to it. Boys and girls, we had a little bit of news. I didn't make a Quinnen Williams slide. I should have made a Quinnen Williams slide. So we're going to skip to that. We're going to go to Hard Knocks. And the Jets fought hard on this whole Hard Knocks thing we got going on. So I want to get into the clip real quick, then we'll hop back on the other side and talk about it.
Well, again, the Jets fought it all along. They met with NFL Films and told them clear as day, we don't want to do this. And while you're all talking about the last time the Jets did it with Rex Ryan and Mike Tannenbaum, they were along for the ride. This group is not along for the ride. And Hard Knocks will not be the same because they're not going to be given the same access. The Jets don't believe it's humane to show players being released. So it would surprise me if we see them this summer. This is a partnership. This is a relationship. And the Jets are not interested in being partners with NFL Films, no matter what they say. So they're going to go in there because it is, as Aaron Rodgers says, being forced down their throats. But the Jets are not going to provide the level of cooperation that the Lions provided last year or that other teams have provided in other years. And essentially, in the end, because the Jets were unwilling to go along with it and because the Commanders don't have the new owner approved yet and the league couldn't go there, the league wanted to go to the Jets. The Jets didn't want it. That's why they waited until last week, because there was no other option. And the league said, essentially, the Jets, you're doing it, and that's the way it's going to go down.
This will be the highest rated Hard Knocks in the history of the series.
Yeah. Yeah, which
with the
isn't
least
their
access.
concern.
With the least access.
So I don't know about you guys, but it actually makes me smile a little bit seeing that they're not going to get the access they want. They didn't get the Quinnen Williams story to drop during Hard Knocks, like the Revis situation. Like, it's kind of like a little big old FU to NFL Films and HBO there. So, Richie, I want to start with you. How are you feeling about Hard Knocks, and what do you think about this clip from Schefter?
I think it's pretty cool. I love how the Jets are not allowing, they kind of are calling their own shots, which is really awesome. And obviously the NFL wants the New York Jets on here on Hard Knocks. I mean, usually the announcements are when? All the way in March? They waited all the way till July for a reason, because the Jets were fighting with NFL Films. We have a amazing TV show already hosted by the One Jets Drive Productions. Just got nominated for 19 damn awards. We have One Jets Drive. Jets fans don't need any more, films. We get all the access we need, but Hard Knocks brings a different element. I'm all for it. I can't complain. I get two different storylines. Monday night, every week, starting August 7th, we have the Jets, One Jets Drive that we're all grown accustomed to love. And then we got the HBO's version of it on Tuesdays. So it's going to be cool, two little storylines that they're going to see from the HBO's perspective and the Jets' perspective. But I do like the Jets limiting access because they're calling the shots. They're not going to allow HBO to come in here and try to spin a little drama in a season that really seems to be special. And Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas, Woody Johnson, all the people up front, they feel something special brewing here, and they don't want cameras to come here and try to spin it into a dramatic situation. I think that the front office and the One Jets Drive, the cool collaboration that they have is that they allow them to get into certain access, but the front office has trust in those cameras and not, show the world too much stuff, if you know what I mean. And that they're worried that HBO will do that. So they're restricting it. I think it's smart. People are blowing it up saying, oh, Rodgers get all this creative control. He gets whatever he wants. Has nothing to do with Rodgers. It's the Jets organization in my eyes. But I'm all for it. And I think it's going to be a good opportunity for us and the whole NFL world to get a good taste of this Jets team on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think there's going to be a lot of players that really shine through. Michael Clemens is one that I feel like is going to be a fan favorite throughout this whole Hard Knocks series. You mentioned it before. The Jets have the One Jets Drive docuseries that they already do, and they have full control over what gets put together in those videos. So it's a little bit more of like, ticket sales and more of a pro-Jet propaganda. HBO might be a little more middle of the line or objective, but they're gonna slant more towards the drama. So any issues that could be springing up within our locker room, they're gonna try and hone in on and amplify as best as possible. And I really like how they're not showing the players getting cut. Apparently, I heard this from Connie that Joe Douglas was the guy that was cutting people in the first iteration of Hard Knocks with the Ravens, and that's one of the main reasons why the Jets are not going to allow it, because Joe Douglas didn't like airing out that dirty laundry, for national TV. So pretty cool stuff. Greenbean, what are your thoughts on the whole Hard Knocks series?
Well, isn't that interesting, though? I'll tell you what, it's just so funny, how people's minds go. Out there, people are like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, everywhere he goes, he does this, he gets what he wants. And like Richie was talking about, my first thought was when they started talking about, the inhumane practice of seeing the cuts, my first thought was, dude, that's Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas was the Turk in the first ever Hard Knock series, like you just mentioned, for the Ravens. That's how he cut his teeth in this whole world, walking around telling people, hey, you lost your job today, which has got to be the toughest job in the world, because it's not only the fact that you're doing that, it's the fact that everybody who sees you coming, like they hate you. They don't want you in the room. They're trying to avoid you, like the whole thing. It's like, oh, shit, here comes the guy. He's like the devil. He's death walking in the room with a sickle, everybody wants to fucking get out of the room. So it's like, Joe Douglas has firsthand experience with the pain of that. And while it's just, there are, every team has a Turk, and and it happens every year. And we all know, we see guys that that we don't want cut. You see guys cut that you don't necessarily think should make the team, but they're still underneath everything. They're humans, and that's their dream, and it's getting taken away from them, and it's always painful to see. Even in with we rewatched the Jets Hard Knocks from 2010 in the Beanbagger group. We have one more episode tomorrow night. We're watching that together, episode 5. But it's like you see it, man. You see the pain in these people's eyes. And interestingly enough, we saw in episode 4, we cut Kevin O'Connell. I think his name is, right? He's the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings now. And I didn't correlate that. I didn't even know that. I just didn't even think that's the same guy that we had on the Jets that we traded for. But anyway, so at least he made good. Maybe there's that. But in the moment, it's very, very painful. And I'm not doubting for a second that it's Joe Douglas that, he's not really into it, man. He's not into, having to show that. He saw the pain on the guy's eyes, from 2 feet away. Hey, take your playbook and come with me. So to speak. That's a terrible thing to be a part of. So anyway, man, I like it too. I think the Jets are putting up their stand. Look, it's in the agreement, right? It's in the CBA that some team has to do it. So they threw their weight around and they forced it on us, and it's okay. But I'm really excited to see One Jets Drives take versus HBO and see who does a better job. I'm really curious. It's head to head, man. I think that One Jets Drive's going to step it up and make them look like, hey, man, you're not even number one in this house over here. And that'll be exciting. I'm rooting for One Jets Drive.
They have some great production value. I remember watching the Hard Knocks back in, 2010, being like, wow, this is incredible. I'm so excited for this. And I don't know when One Jets Drive first started coming out, but I remember, the first time I saw it, I was like, holy smokes, this is the closest thing I've seen since Hard Knocks. And it's just been a natural staple in the household for the last few seasons now. Richie, any particular parts of training camp that you're looking forward to as far as, or maybe even, Hard Knocks, the access we're going to get, any storylines or players that you might be kind of keeping an eye on?
Aaron Rodgers? Give me all the Aaron Rodgers content that you could possibly give me. Force feed it down my throat. I don't care. Aaron Rodgers, please, give me all of it. And listen, Aaron Rodgers said himself that, at the golf outing, he's like, yeah, they've been, what are the words he used? They're shoving it down our throats, and we have to just take it on the chin and just do it. But I think that the headline is definitely going to be Aaron Rodgers. It's that simple. But when it comes to the underlying things, who are going to make the 53-man roster? Who are the people on the roster bubble? Who might get cut? Who might not get cut? Just the stardom of Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, and the personalities of Michael Clemens, and even the personality of a guy like Michael Carter, who I think is a really fun personality and character on the Jets team. I just think it's going to give this Jets young team a good opportunity to really let their personality shine on the big stage, because they're used to One Jets Drives cameras, but that's kind of just focused on us Jets fans, which I have no problem with. But Hard Knocks is going to be broadcasted to the entire world, the entire NFL. Everybody watches Hard Knocks. And I also think that some people, with the narrative of saying this could be a negative for the Jets from the perspective, it could be a distraction. Well, I do like to bring up a positive stance on that, in my opinion, of what Hard Knocks could bring with this Jets team. Because as we know, this Jets team has so much pressure heading into the season. We have 6 primetime games. We're the talk of the NFL already. But I think this is going to be an early test for this Jets team's mentality and how to handle all the eyes on us, right? Every week, the whole national world is going to be talking about the New York Jets and Hard Knocks behind closed doors, what's going on at training camp. And it's going to be a good test for these players to get an idea of, okay, this is what it's like to have millions of people talking about us every week in a good way and a bad way, because there's always going to be people crapping on the Jets for Hard Knocks and loving the Jets in a national scope. So it's going to prepare their minds a little bit to see what the season is going to be like with the lights are on. Monday Night Football week 1. We got Sunday Night Football week 4. Primetime games all over the place with Aaron Rodgers. And I think it could be a good test for this young team to really get an idea of what it's like with all the eyes are on them early on in training camp.
Green Bean, what about you? Any particular battle or thing you're looking forward to when it comes to Hard Knocks or training camp in general?
The rise of Jamie and Sherwood. That's what I'm about. I'm here for Sherwood. I'm telling you, man, I talked about it in the podcast this week. Dude, there is no doubt in my mind. Now, I don't know if Quan's going to be brought back or whatever. I'm not against Quan Alexander. I think it would be a positive and all that. But, dude, a couple of things. Number one, Jamien Sherwood is having articles written about him right now. He's being put out there. He's being exposed to the media. There are sound bites of Jamien Sherwood now out there. If you go on the Jets website and look for a Quinnen Williams jersey, which is non-existent, by the way, they have no whites, no greens, and they only have black available, and they only have small and XXX. So I don't know what the hell this is all about. But if you go on there looking for a Quinnen Williams jersey, maybe an Aaron Rodgers jersey, you'll see all these other names, like the AVTs and the Conklins of the world. And then you scroll down a little bit, and there's Sherwood. Now, people say, it's okay. They put up all kinds of jerseys. He's a mid-round draft pick reserve player. That's not normal. You don't see them putting out mid-round draft picks that are on the roster bubble or, reserves, practice squad guys. I'm telling you right now, I'm reading the tea leaves. I think Jamien Sherwood is being prepped to get more playing time. He's going to have to earn. He's going to have to show up. But I think he's being prepped, and I think this is the year of Sherwood. And that's one of the things. I mean, there's so much, right? But I'm going to go with Jamien Sherwood, watching him steal playing time on the starting defense, and we're all going to fall in love with him this year.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to Sherwood. I'm looking forward to Aaron Rodgers. I think I'm looking forward to what this second year draft class looks like. So that's Michael Clemens, it's Sauce, it's Garrett Wilson, it's Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall, like that. I think that more than anything, and it's kind of a cop-out because it's a whole bunch of players, but I'm looking forward to it because I want to see if Breece Hall is healthy. There's a real good shot he could be comeback player of the year this year. And then Sauce and Garrett, Garrett catching a bomb from Aaron Rodgers. The first time we see like a play action and Rodgers just lets it rip down the field. My prediction for day one of training camp on the 22nd is going to be just a first play, air it out to Garrett Wilson. This whole place is just going to go electric right off the bat. It's going to be amazing. Richie, we were talking before the stream. Richie and I are both going to the 22nd training camp. So anyone, if you guys are going to let us know in the chat if you guys are going to be there for the 22nd. It was incredibly tough to get tickets for training camp. I had like my whole staff. It was me and my whole staff. We were like mashing the button on Ticketmaster. I was like, come on, everyone. You're all taking your breaks right now. Come on in. We're going to get Jet tickets. It's happening. So that's how I was able to get mine. I had a lot of people all at once doing it. I was not actually, so technically the 22nd was the one I was actually on my phone and there was one person in front of me on the queue. Shocked. I was like, no way. I had Becca trying to do it. She was like 700 and something on like one of the other days. I was like, oh man. I was 2. There was one person in front of me.
Yeah, I wonder what I was, because I got tickets. Fortunate enough, I have a connect with the Jets, and they gave me 2 VIP tickets for the Saturdays. And then Sunday I was trying to get, because I'm going overnight with my dad. So we're trying to catch both practices. So we're getting a hotel over there in Jersey and staying the night Saturday night and going to both Saturday and Sundays. And it was so hard to get Sunday because I already had the hotel booked. I'm like, oh my God, I have to get Sunday. Otherwise, this hotel is going to be for nothing. So luckily I was in the queue and I was really quick on there. When did you hop on that website? Because I noticed the link went live at 9:30 and I went on that link around like 9:39 to enter the queue. And I think that's what really saved me getting on there early.
Oh no, we were doing the group buy, so I tried to get in like, hey, can we get the season ticket time at 10 o'clock? They're like, no, even though you're buying so many tickets, that would equate to multiple season tickets. You're not going to get the early access. I was like, all right, I see how it is, whatever. But no, I was on so it went live for everyone else at 11. I was on there. It said get in the queue 10 minutes beforehand. So I was like on the site probably at like, I don't know, 10:40. And then it had like a countdown for when the queue was like gonna start, and then it like dropped me into it, and then it was like, oh, one person in front of you, and I was like, no way. I was like, come on, let's go. I got tickets for the 30th too, so I'm going the 2 days.
I love it, man. It's gonna be great. We were there last year, Ryan. That was a great time.
Dude, Richie and I were walking around. I don't remember which training camp it was, but we were sitting there and we see Zach Wilson driving around in the cart, and we're like, is that that's Zach Wilson. Like, oh my God. You see all like the fans' heads turn because it was like not really where the play was happening.
It was when he was hurt, so he was driving around the cart.
Yeah. He had the bum knee from the Philly game. So he was just like resting on the side.
That's when Gary V was there. We were sitting in the VIP section that time as well, and Gary V was right in front of us. I said what up to Gary V, and that was a great time, man. And the buzz, and I keep coming back to this, Ryan and Green Bean. Like last year's training camp's buzz was crazy. Can you imagine what this year is going to be like? I can't. I mean, they're this excited about Zach Wilson in year 2. Aaron Rodgers is going to make this place explode. You see that they got seats now, overhang. The Jets know what they're doing, man. It's going to be electric this weekend.
Guys, I see you commenting in the chat. Our monetization actually got jacked up this week. So, who was it? It was Crossfire is our only OnlyFans member. And unfortunately, that'll kick start probably next week, if I had to guess. So Super Chats are no longer working right now. But again, next week. Oh, Richie, I don't know if you know this. We were talking last week. We were trying to come up with a name for our members for our channel. And we're like bouncing things around. And we have landed on OnlyFans. So you got to subscribe to our OnlyFans to be a member of the channel. Unfortunately, no one can subscribe right this second, but we had a good laugh about it.
The vortex, man. It's fucking crazy out there.
I love it.
Do you want to meet some lonely, miserable bastards that are also upset about things that happened with the New York Jets over the last 50 years? Meet local singles in your area.
That's
my God.
Does your
I love
it. Consistently disappoint you, even though they promised you the world? Come to our own.
It's so good. So good. All right. Guys, if you want us to answer a question, drop a capital Q in the chat, both for Quinnen Williams and for the question, and then put your question after that. So that way we catch it and I'll throw it up on the screen. So I didn't make a slide for this, but Quinnen Williams signed. We officially have our top, homegrown player. Yeah, I mean, last time we had one was Muhammad Wilkerson, and that went down the tubes. Richie, do we possibly see some slipping from Quinnen Williams, or you think he's going to continue on his current trajectory and take flight?
He is going to take flight, man. This guy is entering the prime of his career. It's not like we overpaid for a player that's at the end of his prime. He is entering that, and it's going to be really beautiful to watch Quinnen Williams, because what makes him so special is his interior pass rush ability. And I think a lot of people don't realize how special it is and how rare it is to have a player of Quinnen Williams' magnitude to be able to disrupt the pass rush up the middle. Edge rushers are premier in this league, but there are a lot of great edge rushers, a lot of great pass rushers, but there's only a select few that can line up on the inside and get to the quarterback as efficiently and get 12.5 sacks like a Quinnen Williams. So I think that he is only going to get better in this system now that he got paid. He has that comfortability. And I think that, the guys around him is going to make him even better. John Franklin Myers, Carl Lawson, you add Will McDonald. I can keep going about this, how deep this Jets defensive line is. They're going to keep doubling and triple teaming Quinnen Williams, and that's okay because that's going to open up other guys. And Quinnen Williams is someone that's proven to be able to handle the double teams and triple teams, which I have grown to even appreciate even more. So I think he's only going to get better and is going to be the leader of this Jets defense and be the reason why this Jets defense could potentially be top 3. Yeah, I said it.
Ooh, Green Bean, how you feeling about Big Q being signed finally, and where do you think his trajectory is headed?
I'm right with Richie. I think he's the anti-Wilkerson. Wilkerson, I thought, I don't know if you guys remember, but we had to make a decision, right? We had to make a decision, a choice between Wilkerson or Snacks Harrison. At the time, I was on the retained Snacks Harrison train. That was the camp I'm in. You know how we get these camps, in Jets Fanville? We all have these sides, and then we argue, and you're wrong, and then I'll kick your ass, and I'll meet you at the flagpole for thinking that. We do all that. Like, we have the Zach Wilson people, and then everybody hates them, and that's how we do it. So at the time, I was I think Snacks Harrison is more important to the team. And so, like, Wilkerson, he was good, but he never had that kind of that upside that Quinnen Williams has. Quinnen Williams is, bordering elite, right? I mean, he's a first team All-Pro, which Wilkerson never was. And you can just see it on him. Like, he has the potential to be in the category of the next Aaron Donald. Now, Aaron Donald is a freak, right? Like, I don't know if anybody's going to be him for a while, but Quinnen Williams is in that category, and he's cut different. He's gotten better every single year. He didn't have, kind of a bunch of humdrum years and then one big year and then won his money. He's gotten better every single year, and I think that he's the exact type of guy that you want to pay. And dude, it's been 12 years since we've signed one of our own draft picks. So what does that tell you about this team? Like, it just so happens to coincide with the 12 years that we sucked. Okay, so I want to just point that out. There's been a lot going on. Now, we've still been here. We've been here the whole time. We've purchased jerseys during that time. We've had hopes and dreams. We've studied draft picks. We've watched college film. We've done all the things. And in that whole time, whoever was running the draft did such a piss poor job that we haven't even seen the need to sign these guys. Sure, we could have signed Jamal Adams or maybe even Leo. They're good ball players, right? But none of them are Quinnen Williams. I think Quinnen Williams is a different breed than those guys. And I think, just like Richie said, we're seeing a guy who's entering his prime and has already shown the NFL that he's a force, man. He's a force to be reckoned with. And we saw last year, the one game that he wasn't on the field, our defense was different. Not that it was a bad defense, but it wasn't the same defense. It wasn't quite as impactful and quite as dominant without him. And that was one game without the guy. So I think he's the exact guy to pay. And I hope that it's a sign of things to come, because we do have a lot of guys, even like mid-round picks, like a Michael Carter II. They're going to all deserve second contracts as well. So hopefully this is the beginning of a new trend, because we've been drafting better, which, by the way, is how you actually build successful teams. I don't know, Richie mentioned it before, overpaying guys at the end of their career while it's exciting, their big names and all that. It just doesn't work, man.
Le'Veon Bell.
Right?
I was going to say, I got another video queued up we can talk about in just a moment.
Is it all Tremaine Johnson highlights?
This is a Le'Veon Bell, the comments he made about not wanting to, or like, I'm sorry he left Pittsburgh or whatever. We'll get into that in just a second. I think the biggest takeaway for me, one, Quinnen deserves his money first and foremost. I think it's great that he got paid. I think it's the most important, though, that these young players see that the Jets are paying for proven production. You act like Quinnen Williams, you play like Quinnen Williams, you get paid like Quinnen Williams. That's where Sauce, where Garrett, where Brees, where all these guys are going to be looking down the pipeline, for contracts in the future. I think if the groundwork has been laid for how you get money from Joe Douglas, and it's not the way Jamal Adams did it, it's not the way Marcus May did it, it's clearly the Quinnen Williams path, and I think it's a big boost to interior team morale and whatnot. And I'm just glad it got done before training camp, because with Revis, we saw him kind of sluggish the beginning part of the season. He missed out on some of the conditioning aspects of it. So having Quinn in here for the entire camp and having him never have actually held out of any practices, because remember, the Jets canceled mandatory camp a month ago because we had this week early start because of Hard Knocks, or because of the Hall of Fame game. So very, very cool. Let's jump into the comments that we were just referring to. This is Le'Veon Bell talking about leaving Pittsburgh.
I never apologize to the fans for really sitting out or leaving the Steelers. I never apologize. So I'm going to say I apologize for leaving the best damn fans there is in this damn world. I shouldn't have left. I apologize. I should never have left. I apologize. That's my fault. That's on me.
Le'Veon Bell, I wish you didn't leave either. That shot us in the foot in the worst way. The worst thing that happened was you lost your offensive line. And we gave you a butt ton of money, and we got nothing for it. I was so hyped on Le'Veon Bell. I was really pumped that we got him, and I thought it was going to be a great signing. This guy's an elite weapon, and then everything goes to shit. Richie, your feelings on Le'Veon Bell?
Listen, man, he's the perfect example of what Green and Bean just alluded to, that what this Jets team used to be known for is paying for people that hit their prime and rewarding them with their second contract for them to suck with us, right? That's basically what happened with Le'Veon Bell, and he held out a whole season for it as well. And now, I mean, what's going on around the NFL right now, fellas? There's a running back situation. There's a big running back like strike, whatever you want to call it. It's like something to be really to keep in mind with when it comes to this NFL world. But Le'Veon Bell, we paid him the big bucks. It wasn't going to work out, and I was with you, Ryan. I can't admit it. I was so happy when we got Le'Veon. I was like freaking out, like we got Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell was like one of my favorite players in the league with the Steelers. I just loved his game, and when he became a Jet, it just was like, let's go. You've got a running back. Thanks, Adam Gase, and thanks it. But hey, listen, what's happened, and it's led us to this point. So whatever, right?
Green Bean, how are you feeling about Le'Veon Bell's comments? Are you upset with them? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I can't help but take it a little personally. I know it's not that easy. Look, of course fans are going to be better to you when you're good, right? I mean, he came here, he had a whole bunch of expectations. He talked about how great Adam Gase was as a coach. Remember Adam Gase, basically, there was all that stuff about he didn't even want him. Remember all that? Like, that's how it started. It was like, we signed it, and we had to wait till midnight so it coincided with the dropping of his album. Dude, I'm telling you, like, look, I wasn't necessarily anti the signing, but I wasn't as hyped. If I remember correctly, there was a very funny video of Ryan responding to that news. I don't know if you.
That was my first live stream, and I had awful audio. I didn't know, and I was like drinking a handle of Tito's for the whole night. I was like, all right, here we go. Let's see what's gonna happen. And like we see the news come. Holy fucking shit! I'm like dropping F-bombs and like just getting all sorts of amped up. And Becca's like, what the F just happened? I was like,
what is
we got Le'Veon Bell. She's like, I don't know who that is. Like, is that an instrument? Yeah. Well, how does this work? Like, oh God.
But it's like, look, Le'Veon Bell, you remember the first game against the Bills, which that was my son's first ever home opener. And it looked so good. We were up 16-0, and there was the crazy, Sam Darnold, kind of not Hail Mary, but just like hope and pray pass.
A 2-point conversion.
And Le'Veon Bell caught it in the end zone. It was like, oh my God, this is so great. CJ Mosley was out of control. All these guys came in. Then he gets hurt, and Bell just never really did much else for us after that game. And people can say it was Gase, it was the organization. I think it's more likely the combination. It was like two turds flying through the wind. It just happened to smash right above Florham Park for us. And that's kind of what we got to see. Now, if Bell went to a team that was established, successful, had a system, they knew how to use them, maybe it'd be better. But it was bad. It was a bad marriage.
And Gase is like historically terrible. like they get back on that, man. Oh my gosh, what a terrible era.
Hey, well, if we didn't have Adam Gase, we wouldn't have Joe Douglas. So, like,
that's what I'm saying,
as much as it sucks, like, it's kind of like a weird saving grace, right? Everything happens for a reason.
Smart man, Ryan. I love it.
Yeah.
I like to say that. I still think that Rams win was bullshit, though. Could have had Trevor Lawrence.
Frank Gore.
Whatever.
Frank Gore.
We have Aaron Rodgers. Screw it.
Braden Mann, motherfucker.
Goddamn tackle.
Curly Norman hops in. He says, feet pics included on the OnlyFans. Maybe. You'll have to see. Maybe next week. We'll see where that goes. J-Boy says, where do I send my picture of me and my wife in our Talkin' Jets shirt? Send them to talkinjetshow@gmail.com or jetstalk247@gmail.com. I'll throw it in. I have to create more of like a compilation of all the people wearing the shirts, and then we'll have that as like our sign-off. I have not started doing that yet. So, Jay, make sure you send it. I saw you got one of your two shirts today or yesterday, so they should be getting there pretty quickly. Zachary Berner hops in, says, did you see the pen for Big Q's signing? It said, bless you, thank you. Oh, it just makes me smile. I saw Schefter tweeted it out. I didn't actually click on the picture, but I'm super pumped. I love it. That's one of like the best quotes I've ever heard. It was like just such an innocent, like whimsical sort of response to like a sneeze mid interview. Richie, how you feeling about Big Q? You feel like he's just a genuine guy, kid, whatever?
I remember,
man,
dude,
child.
like I got into so many debates with some Jets fans early in his tenure here with the Jets that were like calling him a bust or whatever. And like, I just remember it. Okay. I remember you guys. And, but football player aside, his personality I always loved, man. I could watch a Quinnen Williams interview forever. Like I just always got a kick out of him when he was when he had braces when he was a rookie. Like even to today, he always like just is hilarious just for being himself. Like he's just like organically funny, and it's not like he's a comedian and cracking jokes. Like I just find him just hilarious. And when he's on the field, though, he's not that funny. I mean, he's violent. Like, did you see that Kenny Pickett quote about Quinnen Williams?
I
Ryan?
did not see it. What did he say?
Yeah, so I think someone asked Kenny Pickett, like, what was the hardest hit that you felt as a rookie? And he's like, Quinnen Williams, no doubt. I remember getting subbed in, and they ran a twist or a stunt, and Quinnen Williams hit me underneath the chin, and I got up, and that was the hardest I've ever been hit in my entire life, and I was laughing. Like, he was laughing because of, like, how hard he got hit. And he was just like, whoa, that was his welcome to the NFL moment. Because remember, that was his debut, that game.
Sure. That's awesome. My favorite hit from Quinnen Williams is still the stiff arm where he planted Tyreek 6 feet under. That's like going to go down as one of my favorite plays.
It's the best. Yeah, that was a great quote from Pickett. He said, he's like, look, I've been hit my head on the pavement. I'm not pavement, the field. He's like, all that kind of stuff. But as far as like the hit itself, he's like, Quinnen Williams' hit was brutal. Yeah, and then they showed the clip. He actually looked over. He was like laughing. He's like, holy cow, man. Like, Jesus. Fucking rocked me, man. But yeah, that's the good stuff. And how about there's a funny picture of Quinnen. It's out there on the internet. You can find it of Quinnen sacking Aaron Rodgers and his Aaron Rodgers' eyes. I mean, he looks like he's in outer space. And it's just such a great thing. I'm telling you, man, having a guy like that, Richie mentioned it earlier, I think. There are edge rushers and all that, but having a guy, maybe it was you, Ryan, I forget. But, that if you can get genuine pressure, not like coverage pressure, the line breaks down, but somebody who can bust through the line right in the quarterback's face, that is so incredibly impactful because they don't, it's like all of a sudden there's a monster in their face and how they have to panic and getting hit like that. It takes them by surprise, man. And you can see it like, with Quinnen Williams, he gets right through. He's a slithery mofo. And, I'm telling you, I couldn't be more excited for him. I love Quinnen Williams. And again, I'm trying to buy his jersey. I haven't purchased a Jets jersey of an active player in a long time. For myself, even longer. I mean, I can't even remember the last one. Maybe it was Pennington, Keyshawn, like something like that. I'm tired of buying jerseys and then, a year later they're gone or whatever. So I said, second contract, I'm going to do it. And I think Quinnen might be my favorite player on the Jets. I think so. I love Garrett Wilson though, too. I mean, there's so many players to love right now, but I think Quinnen's my guy, but I want to buy his jersey and I can't. So it's crazy. You know what I'm going to do?
You know why that is, right?
I'm doing a Quinnen Williams jersey giveaway. And I went to go announce a winner, and I'm like, "Holy shit! It's completely sold out. I can't give away a jersy, so I gotta
you didn't
wait."
Buy it yet?
No, you got to do the custom
size
one.
of the winner.
The custom one's like $20 or $40 more. I guarantee that's why they're doing it. Get a few extra.
I'm going to do the custom one. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to end up doing it.
Because
Because, here's the thing, right? Like, yes, I can go to 𝐒𝐻𝐞𝐽 or whatever, which, by the way, 𝐒𝐻𝐞𝐽, for whatever they are, they have weird seams. You ever see their seams? It's like...
Oh, I could show you all of them. I got like 5 in my closet right now from, like, the other teams. They are not great quality. They're very, like...
Yeah. It's fine. You're going to wear it if you wear it a couple times a year. Like, we wear our jerseys on Sundays. I don't wear my jersey out and about much anymore. I don't live up there, so there's that. But, I think like this. It's like I say it all the time. Like, I refused to even buy a hat from the Jets when Gase was the coach. I'm not doing it. I won't give you $14.95, dude. I won't do it. You fired Gase. The day they fired Gase, I went and bought some Jets gear. All right, I'm good. You just paid Quinnen. I know my measly 185, 220, whatever the hell it might be, is a drop in the bucket. I know that, but I'm still it's the token. Like, you just signed the player I wanted you to sign. You signed them before training camp. It's a great contract. I'm excited about it. You get my money. I'm going to make sure that it goes to the Jets. So that's just how I think. I don't judge anybody for thinking otherwise. I have no issues any which way about it. But for me, I want to give it to them, and I can't because I got to be creative and make my own jersey. Thing is, I wanted to buy like the good one. You know how they have like the tiers of jerseys, like all the different. Not that I know what the hell it is, but I want to buy the good one, the one that'll last.
The good ones are never available.
They're never available. It's bullshit.
Like,
I think what's interesting is the whole situation with Quinnen was almost like hey, don't cash this check today, cash it tomorrow, because we had to wait till we got Hard Knocks. The money's coming in. Now they're like, all right, now let's get Quinnen Williams. They're putting it all together now. No, I'm kidding. We were going to sign Quinnen regardless. But I like that we didn't have to see it on, or I like that the Jets aren't allowing it to happen via Hard Knocks. It's going to happen via One Jets Drive instead. Nice little middle finger to the league.
They were there today probably for the pencils, the pen on the paper too.
Oh, for sure.
Cameras.
Jets fan forever comes in and says, hey, Ryan, how do you see us faring against the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes? I said this last year, and I'll say it again. I think this defense can play with any team in the NFL. If our offense can match the points that are being put up against the other, like that are getting put up against us, then I think we can go toe-to-toe with any team. And I do think the Jets can go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs as long as, we have our healthy complement of players. I think us at our best, Chiefs at their best, I think the Jets can win this game. Now, obviously, you have to go out and prove it because we haven't done anything. There's just this extra level of confidence that I have, which is totally unfounded. No, I think it's justified. I like to believe it's justified. But, I think the Jets can go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs. I don't think we deserve to be any sort of favorite in that game, but I don't think the spread should be bigger than, maybe 6.5 because it's a road game for us.
When
so maybe
we're 3-0
there's
at that time, Ryan, though.
That's true. If we're 3-0 and the Chiefs are 1-2 or something like that, going into Arrowhead, make me feel good. Richie, how you feeling about that
game? Either of you guys watch Quarterback on Netflix?
I haven't watched it yet. How many episodes are there? It's on Netflix, right? 8 episodes.
Yeah,
I saw the Kirk Cousins clip. With
I'm halfway through it right now, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is because Mahomes is featured on it, obviously. So you're getting another side of the Chiefs from that show. What a fantastic show! I mean, we're talking about Hard Knocks, we're talking about One Jets Drive. This Netflix show is fucking amazing. It really puts you in the quarterback's eyes of what it's like, and it's such a perfect trio. Mahomes, the superstar that he is, Kirk Cousins, the above average quarterback who you gain a respect for his toughness. You'll see why when you watch it. And then it's just Mariota, who it's come on, who really cares about Mariota?
The different tiers
it's
of
like
quarterback.
The tiers, which is hilarious. But the reason why I bring that up is because we're talking about the Chiefs. But I think it's going to be hard to beat Mahomes. I mean, Mahomes is a special talent. I've been a fan of his ever since he entered the league. He just carries himself with a different swag. I also love that he comes from a baseball background, and because I'm a big baseball guy myself, so I always admired him to play the quarterback position like a shortstop. So it's going to be tough, man. This Jets team, like you said, Ryan, it's not going to be more or less stopping Mahomes because that's impossible. It's going to be, can our offense match what Mahomes does? And we got Aaron Rodgers, who is arguably one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. So it's possible.
Greenby, what about you? How you feeling about this Chiefs matchup?
We're gonna destroy the Chiefs.
Confidence.
We're gonna kick everyone's ass. I'm serious. I'm telling you, man. We're gonna do it. I will say this. I just did episode 1 of Quarterback. It's tough for me. I gotta it's weird in my brain. If it's Jets, I suck it up. You know what I mean? But with other things, when they're focused, some in-depth look on Marcus Mariota, I'm it's tough for me to
that
kind
part
of
is tough.
But it's fascinating. It's interesting. And then I was all right, let me see how crazy Mahomes' wife really is. I'm curious about that. I want to see how that relationship really is. But yeah, it's done well, and it's an inside look on things that you don't really get to see all the time. So I think it's interesting. But yeah, the more football, the better, man. But as far as our game against the Chiefs, I think it's high time that a team comes up and lumps them up. Mid-season. I think it's going to be us. I think we're going to pop their lips and make them walk away saying, "What the hell just happened? What was that? Well, how did we get beat so bad by the Jets?" Well, because they're not the Jets that And I think we're going to do that a lot this year.
Cannot wait to crush that narrative. I'm so happy you said that.
Tigo hops in. Tigo says, who's the next free agent joining this team not named Cook, and why is the player you picked an interior defensive lineman? It's not an interior defensive lineman for me. It's going to be... I keep going back to Quan. I still want Quan to sign at some point, and I'm like hoping it happens. I'd like to see someone in either like the safety linebacker type realm, I think, more than anything. Offensive line is like, as squirrely as I am on it, I don't know if we're going to find like a starter more than what we currently have right now between now and like the end of camp. So I think it's more likely we get a starter on the defensive side of the ball. So Quan will be my answer. Richie, what are you thinking as far as potential free agents joining the Jets?
Yeah, besides Dalvin Cook, besides Quinnen Alexander, it's really tough to really predict that because there's not really anybody on the market that the Jets are interested in, or anyone that I see. I'm sure there's someone that the Jets are going to sign that no one really expects. But what you got to look out for, which is impossible to predict, is who the Jets are going to claim in the waiver wire after the 53-man cuts, because that has been such an underrated piece of Joe Douglas's construction of this Jets roster. I mean, you look at all the waiver wires that he's done these past years. Some of them are not on the team anymore, but Braxton Berrios, I mean, I know that things didn't end up well after that contract extension, but he was an all freaking pro. We got Quinnen Williams from there. We got John Franklin Myers, who got extended. Ty Johnson provide depth at the running back position. And, just little things like the waiver wire claims for Joe Douglas, it really impresses me. So I'm excited to see who he claims this year.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, because the waiver wire is such an underemphasized part of the GM's duty. Like, everyone was looking at Joe Douglas, and they were criticizing his first draft class, his second draft class. It's like, well, hold on. His job is to acquire talent. And you look at how he acquired talent through trade, through free agency, through the draft, through waiver wire pickups. And I think that's really impressive. And you look at where rosters are right now, they're like, you're sitting around 100 players per team. That's going to get cut down to like 53 to like 60, including practice squad. So there's going to be a lot of players hitting the market at some point this offseason. Greenbean, any free agent out there that you're kind of keeping an eye on, or that you were hoping that the Jets might sign?
Yeah, I don't know. No, you know what? I would like to see. I'm real curious to see who we end up. I'm more curious to see who we end up losing, right? Like last year, we ended up having the most waiver claims, which, by the way, like you said, is another interesting nugget on how well the general manager is doing, right? Like, we in years past, we've had our general manager literally call the waiver cuts, the mini draft. Like, that's how poorly we drafted. It's like, we need talent, so we're looking at waiver cuts. The teams, the teams cutting guys on the bottom, and we're looking at that as a way to mini draft and get more talent, because that's how, kind of difficult it was for us to build a quality roster up and down. And you saw it on Hard Knocks. They talked just on the, in the 2010 Hard Knocks. It's every episode they mention, if our starters go down, we're in trouble. Like, our number 2s and 3s are not good. Like, we were not, like, we had talent, a lot of talent up top. We had zero depth. And that's what you see changing around here. So, like, it all depends on who we like. And I mean, like, when I look at it, I look at running backs. Sure, Dalvin Cook's exciting. Everybody's talking about trading for Josh Jacobs. And, okay, yeah, I mean, that's all exciting, big names, fun guys. But when you look at our roster, it's like, I happen to like our running back stable. We have a young stable, a lot of, maybe not proven guys, and that can be risky. The same thing like with the tight ends. It's like, we have tight ends I don't want to lose. I mean, these guys, even down to our 7th round pick this year in 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐿, it's like, I'd like to see that guy on the team for a minute and be able to kind of develop and see what he can become. And there's a good chance that somebody else will pluck him, or a 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢. Or, I mean, we have, Ruckert and 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢 and 𝐒𝐭NKLIN and 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐿𝐴 and Kuntz, and then we have a fullback. And people are like, yeah, we're going to keep 6 wide receivers and add Cook, and we can still keep Bam Knight and Izzy and fucking 5 running backs and 5. Like, it's not real. Like, we can't do all that. So I'm more a fan of seeing these guys that we've collected and that we've drafted and we've been developing for 1 or 2 years, kind of seeing this whole process play out. I know the fear a lot of the time, especially right now, is, well, if we have Rodgers for 1 year and there's all this stuff coming out that he gave us a 3-year commitment, which is fantastic. Which, by the way, I said it right from day one. He's going to be here 3 years. Not that I knew anything. It's just a guess. But that's, I'll see if I was right. But if it is 1 year with Aaron Rodgers, it's concerning to kind of put faith in unproven guys. And I understand that. At the same time, I'm more excited for the Izzies, for the Bam Knights, for the, even, Michael Carter, he had a down year last year. Let's see what he can, do coming back with an established offensive coordinator and a real quarterback so they can't stack the box, all those kinds of things. And the same thing goes for, Sherwood, Tony Adams, those types of guys. Seeing what we have there and kind of folding these young, athletic, and hungry players into a team that's packed full of all pros and Pro Bowl level talent vets all over the place. I think that would be more the route that I want to go rather than, going out there and trying to, jam these, shoehorn these guys onto the roster and pay them big money or even trade draft assets for, I don't know. I'm not necessarily against it, but I'd like to go into training camp and see what these young guys have.
I got to talk for 1 second. Where the hell did this Josh Jacobs rumor come from? Because someone's a really dumb, what. There's no way the Jets are trading for a franchise tag player.
Where it comes from, Ryan.
Where?
It drives me crazy. I mean, this is today's world of sports media, I've noticed. It came from literally a hypothetical article that this guy created. Hypothetical trades. He's creating them out of thin air, and then it sparks conversation. Oh, the Jets, Josh Jacobs? No, there's no rumors that's actually factual about that. It's a guy who works for Bleacher Report, and the boss told him, hey, you got to think of something. He's like, I'll do 10 hypothetical trades I can see. Oh, one of them, Josh Jacobs, Jets, that makes sense. And then it turns into a rumor.
So stupid. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm not making a video about that. I'm not justifying this. This is such bullshit. Like, there's no way. You got Breece Hall. You got all these freaking running backs. You're talking about trading for a franchise tag running back? Oh, get me hot and bothered.
You can tell me on the Dalvin Cook situation, but Josh Jacobs is different.
Dalvin Cook, Zeke Elliott, Kareem Hunt, like any one of those three over Josh Jacobs. I'm not trading for a franchise tag player. Not happening. Ugh.
I do want to bring up something, maybe my own topic.
Go for it.
Jets, since we're on the topic of Joe Douglas. Something came to my attention on Twitter today, and I tweeted it after doing some research, and I posted it on all over my social medias because I thought it was really cool to kind of bring this to the surface. I don't know if you have access to my Twitter so you can see it for yourself, but basically somebody tweeted a photo of the Jets reveal, the grand reveal of their new uniforms. And it was a picture of all the Jets at that time. Leonard Williams, Avery Williamson, Chris Herndon, Sam Darnold, Jamal Adams, Quincy 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐚𝐫𝐲, shout out, legend, and then Robbie Anderson. And the caption was, Joe Douglas really flipped this into a Super Bowl contender. So, that sparked me to really do some research. Okay, what are the draft picks that we got? I'm really curious. So I did the research, and Joe Douglas traded 5 players, Jamal Adams, Sam Darnold, Leonard Williams, Avery Williamson, and Chris Herndon. He traded those 5 players for, listen to this, 2 first-round picks, 1 second-round
I'll do you one
pick.
better. I'll pull it up while you're talking about it. Keep going.
So 2 first-round picks, 1 second-round pick, 2 third-round picks, 1 fourth-round pick, 3 fifths, and 2 sixths. And this is just an entire draft class. And we already saw him make these picks. Guys like Garrett Wilson, Elijah Vera Tucker. We're talking about Breece Hall. Those 3 players are Jets because of the flippage of those players. So my point is, Joe Douglas came here and inherited that mess. I mean, those are our 5 stars. Those are the stars of the Jets at that time. And he got that mess, and he flipped it into so much assets in order to build his team his way. And now we're seeing it all come to fruition. It takes time, right? It takes time. And it's been a little bit. It's been 3 to 4 years since that picture has been taken. And it's pretty darn cool. And obviously, Douglas isn't perfect. The Zach Wilson pick is going to hang over his head. But I think that what Joe Douglas has done to get 11 total draft picks from 5 players, especially those 5 players that are pretty garbage, if we're really being honest here, it's remarkable. So the next step, which is, if you scroll down, you'll see the tweet underneath that. I said the next step to really start praising Joe Douglas is simple. Win. That's it. Now you got to win, because we're praising things on paper and we haven't saw it winning yet. So it's fun to do these things in the offseason that we all do, and I do, of course. But the next step is to win. Then we can really say, okay, Joe Douglas, you are a magician.
Right.
Yeah, it's incredible what he's been able to do with just like the flaming pile of contracts and like, you know, draft picks and whatnot. He's like, all right, yeah, let's just rip the cupboard apart. Let's restock it with all the toys I want. Minus CJ Mosley, he's still hanging around. He's that leftover bottle of like that condiment that you don't use that doesn't expire for a really long time. That's CJ Mosley right now. He's sitting in our cupboard. Ketchup, yeah, ketchup doesn't go bad, right? It's like a Twinkie.
Shouldn't.
I don't think it should.
How could it? It's got 650 grams of sugar in it. Sugar doesn't go bad. You know that.
And hey, I mean, the one thing Mike McCadden did do for us is he gave us Quinnen Williams, and I know the contract for CJ Mosley is grand, but CJ Mosley, I mean, he's a big freaking piece of this defense, so I'm thankful for him.
I'm shocked. I'm really happy with how CJ Mosley played last year, because I thought there was no way at the beginning of last season that CJ would be on this team, you know, at the end of last season. I was like, there's no way they're going to carry that contract. And then now it's like, well, I kind of would like him to stay beyond this year. Like if they could drop his cap hit by a lot more, like let's say, I don't know how much money he's getting paid this year. I think his cap hit's like $21 million or something silly. But like, if you can give him, hey, we'll give you guaranteed money, but we're going to stretch it over these next 2 or 3 years, and we're going to drop your cap hit this year, that would be something I'd kind of sign up for. Keep the defensive veteran leader on that side of the ball. I mean, I guess you don't want to push too much money into the future, but I'm glad CJ Mosley's here for sure.
Agree.
Ryder and Talon's PA says, who will lead the Jets in sacks this year? Greenbean, I'll throw that to you first.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I was too busy talking to myself. What's up? My bad.
Sorry. Who's going to lead the Jets in sacks this year?
Who's going to lead the Jets in sacks? Will McDonald, of course. That's what's going to happen. You're going to see he's going to get 19 sacks. That's what's going to – wouldn't that be amazing to see him come out of the gate and just tear it up from the wide 9? Oh, that'd be so good. I think it'll probably – I think realistically it could be Carl Lawson. I think Carl Lawson is primed, man. You know, we saw it last year. I mean, his impact was undeniable. But he was coming off the injury. So first year really playing in the defense. Like we don't talk about that enough, man. Like this is a lot of these guys now, it's their second and third year in the defense, but more so it's playing together, right? Like, you know, the Sauces and the DJ Reeds and the Carl Lawsons, and like they're all playing together now for the second year. This is what, you know, we saw up in Buffalo. I mean, they were able to keep really in large part the core of their defense together. Of course, every year they would add players and stuff via the draft or what have you. But the core of their defense was together for 6 years. They're just starting to lose guys now. Last year they lost a couple. They lost Edmonds this year, right? So it's just now starting to break apart. But for 5 and 6 years, that defense stayed together, and that's when you start to see leading the league in takeaways and all that kind of stuff, because it's second nature to them. They're flowing in the defense. They're not thinking and all that jazz. And we never get to see that. We have coaches for 5 minutes. They switch, you know, players are here for 1 and 2 years and then they're gone, or, you know, so we're finally able to see this kind of, we kept, I mean, who we lose? We lost Sheldon Rankins and Nathan Shepard, and we replaced them with Al Woods and Jefferson. It's like everybody else is here. You know, we kept everybody together. We all thought we were going to lose Carl Lawson or CJ Mosley because of the non-guaranteed money and all and their, you know, kind of elevated contracts. Going into the offseason, 9 out of 10 opinions were at least one of those guys was going to be gone, and none of them are gone. And I think that's amazing. We saw a lot of restructuring. So I think Carl Lawson, interestingly enough, this year, I think because of the Aaron Rodgers impact and all the primetime games and the Sauce Gardner kind of, you know, emerging star, Quinnen Williams, I think we're going to see a few more calls when Carl Lawson's getting clotheslined around the neck, which we saw every single week without a flag. I think the Jets are going to start getting those calls. It's funny, I say this stuff and people, that's why you think you're going to do good. You think, you know, you're depending on refs, penalties. It's like, no. I'm just depending on a game being called fairly. That's all I want to see is when you're pulling on someone's neck from behind as he's trying to chase your quarterback and there's no flag. I call bullshit on that. I think that's.
How about a roughing call? We didn't get one all of last year. That's like a statistical anomaly.
I mean, in this day and age,
That's crazy.
It's crazy. The only team in the league, like, look, you can say what you want about, all fans think their teams don't. Dude, we didn't draw one roughing the passer penalty, and our quarterbacks were mauled all year. We couldn't get one, and then JFM pushes whoever,
fucking Mac Jones.
Sneezes on him. While Michael Carter II's 80 yards down the sideline.
Dude, that game was ours.
That game was a turning point of the season, but I'm reliving a nightmare.
And that play was a turning point in the game. It's really true.
Yeah, I know. It's sad.
So I think, with the Jets having a little bit more of a spotlight on them, I think our players, because we're not punks, right? We're not a bunch of loudmouth, dirty players or anything. We're a collection of high character guys. And I think as the focus gets put on this team, and we're genuinely beating the guy in front of them, we're gonna see some more of those calls. And I think if the offensive tackle knows that they can't hold Carl Lawson on every play, I think he's gonna be a beast. I think realistically he could be the sack leader on the Jets.
I agree. Carl Lawson's my vote. Richie, where are you going with this?
Yeah, I could definitely see Carl Lawson being the guy, but I'm going with the same guy who was the leading sack leader last year. I think he's going to run it back. And we were just talking about him earlier. Big Q, baby. I think Quinnen Williams with double-digit sacks again, 12.5 last year as a defensive tackle, I think he's going to top that or match it. And, hey, if Carl Lawson has 15 to Quinnen's 13, sign me up. I won't complain. But, I'm gonna run it back with Quinnen.
Well, dude, talk about like last year we didn't have an offense to generate a pass rush for our defense because like if we're scoring points, now other teams have to throw on us. Last year they had teams running on us all the time because we just did not have to force them into bad downs and distances. Now, we sort of saw a glimpse of what our defense is going to look like. That was more so because of some fluky things that happened at the beginning part of the season, playing some backup quarterbacks, situations like that. But that is the formula. That's why you have the pass rushers up front to generate the pressure. That's why you have lanky guys like Sauce Gardner in the secondary to take advantage of like wildly thrown balls. You're gonna see turnovers more this year, similar to the beginning of last year, because of the offensive side of the ball this year. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Did you, by any chance, see Jeff Ulbrich meant to talk about that on the Jets podcast with Eric Allen? Because he literally broke that down.
I did not. I've been saying that since last season.
It's crazy because Jeff Ulbrich, it was funny because if you watch it, he was trying so hard to say it in a nice way and not take shots at the offense for sucking. But he was basically saying, like, this year with a good offense, like, it's going to put pressure on the opposing offense to actually be more aggressive on us. And the truth be told, at the end of the season last year, we saw a huge decline in what? Jets takeaways, right? Jets forcing takeaways. And a big reason for that wasn't because the Jets defense started to stink. A lot of it had to do with because opposing offenses were so confident that to shut down our offense that they did not have to be aggressive and just run the ball, get into field goal range, kick 3 points, and beat us 3-0 because we're not going to score anything. So now, if the Jets are going to put up points that we're expecting with Aaron Rodgers and, we're going to be having a lead, it's going to force opponents to really start airing it out, which is going to create more opportunities for Sauce Gardner to get more interceptions, for the entire team to get more takeaways, for the pass rush to get home, and for more defensive plays to happen. And I think that's something that us Jets fans should get really excited about because not only us fans are aware of it, the damn defensive coordinator is aware of it. That tells you that this team is going to look forward to those moments.
Well, it's a lot harder to get a fumble recovery than it is an interception. So you get the other team throwing the ball a little bit more, make a few more mistakes. I like it.
I need a couple pick sixes and a couple fumble sixes. I don't even know. Like, we need to turn into the 49ers from last year. Defensively.
Yeah, Scott jumps in. Scott says, has anybody heard more about Rodgers' contract being 3 years? Is it true? I get the feeling that they're going to restructure Rodgers this year, and it's still going to look like a 2-year contract. And then after the season, they're going to have this epiphany, and it's going to be, Rodgers wants to commit for 2 more seasons. Now we're going to trade Zach Wilson, not because he sucks, but because we have a Hall of Fame quarterback that wants to stay on the team for the next 2 years. I think that's kind of how this contract situation is going to play out. That'll give the Jets the best possible return for Zach Wilson. Now, that's if anyone does ultimately want to trade for him, but I do think we're going to try and fluff his trade value in the preseason. We're going to talk him up a lot throughout the season and just kind of see where it goes. I mean, obviously, they're going to try and develop him as best they can, but I think there's a really good shot we have Rodgers for 3 seasons. Richie, your thoughts?
Dude, if we give Rodgers for 3 seasons, like, he's retiring a Jet. Okay, sorry, Green Bay. I don't care about the 18 years. Like, he's going to give us 2 Super Bowls, and Aaron Rodgers is going into the Hall of Fame as a New York Jets freaking quarterback, and it's going to be the greatest time of our Jets fandom life. And, like, my buddy Jack, him and I were making a joke, like, complete joke. Don't take this serious. But we're like, dude, the Jets win a Super Bowl. I'm retiring from being a Jets fan. Retiring from Jets media, hanging up the cleats, guys. It was awesome. I am done with this because then it's gonna be. And we just made a funny joke how content it would be. Like, they could suck for the rest of my life as long as we get that one Super Bowl. We'll be happy.
Now, would you? So I guess here's the conundrum, right? Like, is the Super Bowl more important? Would you rather have? I can't do the would you rather have because you obviously want a Super Bowl. But if you had like, let's say you get one Super Bowl this year. Would you rather have the next 10 years, no Super Bowl, competent play, or would you rather a second Super Bowl within those 10 years, but the rest of the years are like dog shit? What would you prefer?
Second Super Bowl. For me.
Man, I don't know. I think I want
Because
one
it's
and
all
out,
about
like
the
10
rings,
years of
man.
success. I
That's
want to
the
watch
one thing
deep
I'm
playoff
learning,
runs.
man. Like, for example, who the fuck cares about what the Buffalo Bills has done in these past few years? Who
That's true.
cares? Who cares?
That's right. Lay it out there, Richie.
No one
I'm
gives
with
a shit about what the Buffalo Bills has done. They won 3 straight division titles and lost every time in the playoffs. No one's talking about them. So I want to be known in history. 2-time Super Bowl champs while I'm alive. Well, it'll be 3-time, obviously, but 2-time while I'm alive.
See, it's going to be great. We win 2 Super Bowls. Rodgers is definitely retiring a Jet. Fuck
That's
Green
what
Bay.
I'm saying. I mean, and now we're getting ahead of ourselves. Give me one. Rodgers, okay?
I know, right?
We're
Let's
talking
see if
about
he
2. We haven't even got one.
Yeah.
Green Bean,
Let's
your
see
thoughts?
If we get a quarterback that makes it through the season. That doesn't happen here. Let's see if we do
We will
that.
this year.
But I'm with you. I like the idea. I always thought, again, just my own thoughts. I thought there's no way that the Jets are doing all this for 1 year. There's just no way. They have some sort of agreement with him, an understanding. And that's the whole thing. It makes the trade significantly different if he's here for 3 years. Everybody's looking at it as a 1-year rental kind of a thing. Which, look, even if we get a Super Bowl out of a 1-year rental, it's still worth it because shit, man, my entire life I haven't seen one. So, no matter what you got to pay to get one, I don't really care. Just get us there so we can have some fun. But if we get him for 3 years and we do get a ring or 2, but like a ring and competitive football for this next foreseeable future would be well worth it in my opinion. And I have to admit, while I'm not hoping for anybody to lose any marriages or any of their kids to have bad school grades, but I'm really hoping Jordan Love sucks ass on top of Aaron Rodgers being great here too. I want him to fail almost as much as I want like the Bills or the Dolphins or the Pats to like it is. I mean, the way Green Bay fans have kind of infiltrated and just been douchey throughout this whole process. Like they kind of
I've seen a bunch of like good Green Bay
I was about to
fans
ask
in
you,
here.
Green Bean. I kind of wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts of the Green Bay Packers fans that are like rooting hard for the Jets this year because of Aaron Rodgers? There's a lot of them.
they're out. Yeah, they're there too. Good. Whatever.
You
I
welcome
think
them,
that-
or you're like fuck off to them?
Come on in, baby. Plenty of
yeah, I
room
don't
on this
really care.
bandwagon.
as long as they're not the guys taking up everybody's training camp tickets, so you can't get in. You know what I mean? So real Jets fans can't get in. But no, yeah, I mean, whatever. But I mean, look, I've never had a player for 18 years, so I don't know how except for Pat Leahy, so our kicker in the 70s, 80s and 90s or whatever. But like, I don't know what that feels like. So, I mean, if they don't want to let go of him and they want to see him succeed, that's foreign to me. As soon as the Jets get rid of a player, he becomes public enemy number one. The only one I think I might root for is Mimsy. That's it. If we get rid of him, I'm gonna want Mimsy to do okay out there. But generally speaking, like when, remember when we got rid of Sam Darnold and there were all those fans like rooting for Sam to fail and they wanted him to do well and they wanted him to succeed just to show the Jets that they made a mistake. Like, that's not me, man. Sam was gone. I hate Sam. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way it is on the field for me as a fan. Again, not in their personal
Sam also didn't
life.
give us anything, so you're right for that.
Yeah. So, so I don't know. Maybe if we had a guy for 18 years and the team traded him, maybe I'd go root for him. So I don't have any issue with that. I don't know about you guys, but especially that first wave of time, before the trade and around when the trade happened, I saw more Green Bay fans being douchey on Twitter, on Jets Twitter, than positive. Hey, good luck, guys. I saw some of that. And on my streams, I've seen some guys come in and say, hey, he's good. You're going to like, stuff like that. But I saw a lot more of the negative stuff. So I'm really rooting. I want this trade to be good on numerous tiers, not just us to win. I want them to fail. That's where the real juice is. You know what I mean? You bite deep into the plum. That's where it is.
Do you know what
Jamie
I want you
comes
to
in.
rub into Packers fans, Green Bean? I want to purchase the first round pick of the 32nd draft by the Green Bay Packers next year. That jersey, I'm buying.
Oh, that would be great. Hang it up in the back.
Good.
I got
I
got my cheese head in the back there. It's getting turned into a pepperoni slice of cheese pizza.
Did you already look at doing that?
I haven't said. I think I've said I'm going to do it. I just haven't cut out the red circles to put on it yet. I'm not an arts and crafts guy.
I went as far as to price, even through Alibaba, and I have some guys I know that do that. Dude, it's really tough. I wanted to see if we could make those things. But,
dude, I reached out to like cheesehead.com or wherever I got the cheesehead. I was like, hey, I got an idea. I don't know if you want to do it because it's not a cheesehead, but it's an Aaron Rodgers thing. Radio silence. Nothing.
They're like, yeah, it's a great idea. Thanks for giving it to us. It's now patented and
boom, boom, boom.
copywritten,
Screw
and it's
you.
ours. That's right.
Oh yeah. Jamie hops in. Jamie says, "What do the Bills and weed have in common? They both get smoked in bowls." Haha.
That's wonderful, Jamie. I love it.
Greg hops in. Greg says, "Who do you think is going to be our number 2 best running back this season?" He says, "Izzy." I'm gonna say we get a bounce back year from Michael Carter. That's what I want to see. That's no disrespect to Bam or Izzy. I think they're both going to be really, really fun to watch. But I want to see Carter come back. He's the voice in the locker room. That's the guy that I'm hoping can kind of have a rebound season this year more than anyone. Because personality-wise, I really like him too. So I just want it to go back to the norm that was his rookie year and not what we saw out of him last year. Richie, what do you think? Number 2 running back.
With or without Dalvin Cook, it's going to be, it's going to be tough. Michael Carter it's interesting because Izzy, I don't want to compare him to Brees, but he has that home run hitting potential. And basically what that means is he has the ability to take it the distance anytime he touches the football, something that Michael Carter does not have. But what Michael Carter does have that I like is his ability to make people miss in the open field, break tackles, stay balanced, pick up those first downs, be a good pass catcher out of the backfield. He brings different elements to the game, which I think complements Breece Hall. Izzy kind of feels like another version of Breece Hall, not as explosive and not as talented, obviously. But I think Izzy has a really good chance to fight for that running back 2 spot. But I do think, some people are for sleeping on Michael Carter. And I think the sophomore slump is going to get to him and to really prove people that he is still a beast. Because don't forget, Michael Carter as a rookie was damn slippery. He was awesome to watch. And I think that he has a really good chance to be that number 2 running back. And just know that with Hackett, I don't think it's going to be like a running back 1, 2, or 3. I really think it's going to be a committee where it's going to be split and they're just going to ride with the hot hand.
Green Bean, what about you? Who's running back 2?
Michael Carter all day. And I'm excited about Izzy. And, we'll see what happens if the Jets bring in, a vet running back, for just as an example, a Dalvin Cook or something. We'll see how that goes. But I also like Bam Knight. Dude, we can't forget, everybody's talking about this, the Jets running back showed that they didn't have the juice at the end of the year. We talked about it. There was no quarterback. Hold on.
God bless you. It's
God
gone
bless
now, isn't
himself.
it?
Woo!
In
All
honor
right.
of Quinnen.
Bless you. Thank you.
Thank me. Yeah, I think Michael Carter, he showed us. I mean, going into the draft when we took Brees, more Jets fans than not didn't even want to draft a running back. They were like, "That's nuts. We have Michael Carter. What's going?" Like we forget like how just how good the guy was, and he's had no quarterback to pull that attention away from the running game. We saw the last 5-6 games of the year, man. There were 8, and so we were counting them during the live streams. There were 9. They had 9 in the box. They were going straight man, and they were just stop the running game. Zach Wilson sucks. He can't even hit screens. You don't have to worry about him. Just stick with your guy. If it's not even going to get to the guy, it's more likely to be a pick than it is, an actual completion. So, dude, that's what they did. And then add to that all the offensive line issues that we had by the last few weeks of the year. We had guys, that shouldn't have been starting. Let's just say that we signed guys mid-season and they were starting, whether it was 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢 and then he got hurt, or Dr. Blocker, or all these guys. We were a hodgepodge. So the line did okay considering, but they were certainly not an offensive line that can overcome 8 or 9 in the box and open up running lanes, especially with no real quarterback to worry about. So I think our running backs are good, and I think Michael Carter is gearing up for a true comeback season. If Brees is healthy, he's going to be the guy, but Michael Carter is going to be number 2 in my opinion.
I love it.
I just want to
Zachary
slip in there
Berner.
real quick. Even if we get Dalvin Cook, Michael Carter's still going to have a role with this team.
Now, Richie, do you want to see Dalvin Cook sign here? Is that like, I am excited about Dalvin Cook. I would love to see him here. I think he's just using us to get more money out of Miami, though.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're used to that. It's happened before. The thing I view as Dalvin Cook is it's more of a luxury than a need. But if we do get him, holy shit, is this team loaded? I mean, I'm just looking at it as this is us as a Jets fans, we're kind of just accustomed to loving our young players and just getting obsessed with the potential. But I think we have to get over the fact that this is a different era and a different season of like all aboard, like as much talent as possible and as much firepower offensively as possible for Aaron Rodgers. At least that's my perspective. So if we can land Dalvin Cook for a 1-year deal and it's not a long-term commitment and we could fit him in the budget and have a 1-2 punch of Brees Hall and Cook and have Carter and Izzy as a utility guys being implemented certain ways, I am all in on Dalvin Cook. But if we miss out on him, I am also not crying about it. That's kind of how I'm looking at it personally.
Yeah, it's kind of more of like a luxury, not necessarily a need. I mean, it could be a need if something were to go awry with like Brees Hall. I think that's maybe the part of me that wants him a little bit more is it's that insurance. Not to mention like you keep Dalvin Cook healthier into the season. You keep Brees healthier into the season by sharing that workload, which is what we're seeing or what we think we're going to see with Izzy and Carter and Bam and all those guys anyway. But it's just a different level. Like this guy had 10 touchdowns last year. He had, 1,300 or 1,400 all-purpose yards. It's exciting to see where he's ultimately going to end up. I think he's going to wait until Hard Knocks is rolling. There's going to be all this drama. He's coming in for an interview, and then Miami's going to be like, oh, wait, we screwed up. We want to pay you more money. And then he's going to be like, I'm going home to Miami or back to Florida.
I also think he's waiting for a potential injury for a team to get desperate to pay him. Like, he just wants to get paid. I mean, we saw it with Hopkins. Like, don't get out of here, DeAndre. Oh, what a contender. I mean, these people that are at that stage of their career, they just want one more cash, one more contract before they can just walk away into retirement. And I don't blame him, but that's the reality. That's what Hopkins got, and that's what Cook is looking for.
Zachary Hobson says, what are your thoughts on the benches having shade for the Jets or for the fans at Jets camp? I love it. For those of you that don't know, I went last year, got totally roasted by the sun, and Becca makes fun of me and calls me pork fried rye for a freaking week after that. It's not great. I'm not good getting sunburn. I'm like 100% Irish. I'm like not built for sun. So yes, I very much like the shade that's going to be there.
And
Richard, your thoughts on the shade?
Well.
How great are the ceilings?
They're incredible.
What do you call them?
Beautiful.
The roof? What do we call those things?
It's like a double decker. It looks like double decker. It's like you can actually like see stuff. It's huge. It looks massive compared to what it was last year.
Has a double decker, and then the one on the sideline is like a massive thing with one overhang on top, and they're also seats instead of bleachers, which is really cool.
Yeah, my
Well, what do you
butt
call
hurt
that
after
when
all that.
something's over top?
An
What the hell is
overhead?
that?
I don't
What's
know.
my-
Is that wrong?
What's my brain? A ceiling? Roof? What's it
Roof,
called?
like an awning. It's
Like
got
an
awning over top.
outdoor
Awning?
roof?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
they
it's
put
like
up
a cover.
roofs.
It's like something we don't. There's no word for it ever of all time. We've never heard
No
of
word. Hey, in the chat, help us
They put a
out.
ceiling on
Canopy?
the bleachers.
it. Someone in
The
the chat,
ceiling.
an outdoor ceiling that's not attached to anything.
Ephraim says canopy, maybe. There you go. That's good.
Canopy's a good term. Canopy feels like cloth, though. This looked like a solid structure.
An overhang.
Nobody's saying, yeah, no more pork fried rye. That's brilliant. You got to really commend Beth on that one. That's well done. That's it. That's quality.
Andrew Yale says, any news about our draft pick signing? Right now we have Tittman, our second-round pick, who is one of 12 second-round picks who is not signed, and McDonald is one of like 7 or 8 first-round picks that is not signed. So obviously I hope we get them in before camp, but maybe we get them for like Saturday. They sign and they come running out onto the field, and all the Jet fans go crazy all at once, and that's what's going to happen. Calling it. I said that's when Quinnen was going to sign. I was wrong. So hopefully they sign just like Quinnen signing after I said that last week. Richie, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it happens every year where this kind of like gets dramatized. Like, whoa, why are we signing our draft picks? Like, they're going to get signed. Like, it's just a matter of when to me. So I never got a panic. I mean, we saw it with Sam Darnold. Like, that was a big deal. Like, oh, it's Sam's first time walking on the field. Yeah, like, a big deal. Like, come on. It's all drama. I mean, it's fun. But I think it's going to get done. And now we have to talk about, I mean, what's that freaking word? Language? Or what is it that they have to
It's
discuss?
it's the what's that called?
Nonsense.
Offset language.
Offset language. Get used to that, folks. We're in the offset language part of the
Yeah.
season. We get to hear this once a year, and now we're going
Right,
to talk
every
about
year. It's offset
language.
season.
It's offset language season, guys.
Zachary Berner comes in. He says, what are your thoughts on the Giants and maybe the Jets having their logos on the 50-yard line finally? I like it. It's nice. I've never seen that in my time as a Jets fan because they've always had the NFL logo there. It's going to be interesting. I'm it's
ready
funny.
for
I
that.
never, it never occurred to me that, having the NFL logo at the middle of the field was, weird. Even watching, other games, I was just like, oh, it's the NFL shield. It is what it is. And, when someone showed me, the Giants picture the other day, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I want our logo there.
Wait a second.
What the hell?
Well, if the Giants have it, I will outrage if we don't. I
Oh,
mean,
100%.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no. If the Giants are going to it, the Jets have to go to it. You can't let the Giants have their logo and then you just throw the NFL shield out there. Screw that.
Yeah. Pretty
Green
sure
bean,
we're
your
the only
thoughts?
teams to do it, but I think us and maybe the Panthers, or maybe they get their logo there.
I was going to say Chargers and Rams maybe
No,
because they share a stadium. I don't know,
I
though.
think they change it. Yeah, they have their logos. We're
Damn
one of
it.
the only teams that do it. It's weird.
It's bullshit. We're the only team that plays in an air conditioning unit, too.
Oh, my
crap.
God. Don't get me started.
Greenman, what do you think about the logo being in the center of the field? Do you think it's going to happen for the Jets?
Well, I think that it should be an announcement that if the Giants are doing it, it's the Giants and Jets are doing it. If the Giants do it and we don't, I don't get it. I don't. It doesn't compute to me. I don't understand. Remember the reason that there was something about players getting injured on our field because we have to change it so much, right? So it wasn't quite as like the Chiefs or something. It's just theirs. It's just part of their field. We had to change it. So there's some sort of something going on with that where guys were getting injured in that area. So they just wanted to keep it clean. You guys don't remember, but when I was growing up, it wasn't even the NFL logo. It was a big red circle with the state of New Jersey in it. And it said the New Jersey Meadowlands. So
Ugh.
you want to talk, how
That's so ugly.
You know how we eat a lot of crap about the Jets not being in New York and the whole thing? It was worse then. Let me just tell you.
I would imagine so. You just have the state of
Wow.
New Jersey on your fucking
Every
field.
game. Right. It was like New Jersey. That's where
Ugh.
we are.
Wow.
They did that for a few years too, man. But Some guys in the chat will remember. My old heads, they'll remember the Meadowlands thing and the big red dot in the middle of the field. I don't mind the NFL thing, but again, if the Giants are doing it, then we need to do it. It's just that simple. And if we don't, I call foul. That's what I call.
Kelvin drops in. He says, which is more likely, top 3 passing defense or top 3 rushing defense? So as much as I love our secondary, I think teams are going to have to pass on us. I'm going to say top 3 rushing defense is more likely because of the offensive firepower we now have on our side of the field, even though I love our secondary. Richie, your thoughts?
I think this defense is actually constructed to shut down the pass. I mean, with the pass rushers on top of the secondary, I think this Jets defense is like built for that. Like it's absolutely meant to get to the quarterback in order to them to try to force some balls up there to get picked off. Like I think this Jets passing defense is going to be the best we've seen in a long, long time. Like, and last year, frankly, the rushing defense was the issue. If there was an issue with the defense, it was their running defense later in the season. So, you know, the addition of Al Woods and hopefully Quinnen Williams taking a step in that area, which he's already dominated in, will help us in the run game category. But I really don't see us being a top 3 run defense, but I do see us being a top 3 passing defense for sure.
Green Bean, top 3 pass or top 3 run defense this year? What's more likely?
I'm with Richie. I think rightfully so. The Jets have finally caught up with the times and decided to stop the pass and even focus on being a passing offense. You know, even our successful teams, ground and pound, baby. And I'm all about a good ground and pound, but it's a passing league. The rules are all about that. So you better be, you know, built to stop that. And not for nothing, you know, generally speaking, it's the pass that can kill you quicker. You know, if you can stop the run, which we've had teams, even as recently as Greg Williams led defense, we were the number 5 run defense in the league, if you remember, just a couple of years ago. But guess what? The defense sucked. You know, it's like we stopped the run all game, and they throw a 40-yard bomb and they score, and that's the way it goes. So I think we're built to stop the pass. I think that's more likely. But I will tell you this: I don't think we're any slouches in the run game either. I think that we're going to be pretty damn good in that area as well. I think we got a really well constructed defense, man. It's, you know, hoping that we stay healthy. If we do, I think this defense is going to do a lot of both. But I think passing, if we're going to pick one that we end up being known for, it's going to be our pass defense.
See, I think we're going to rank lower in our pass defense, but the pass defense is going to be far more impressive than our run defense. I just think more teams are going to have to throw, and we're going to have a lot of like stupid yards that get at it. Like we might have like 400 pass yards given up, but it's because we've put the game away in the first half of a game. And like now we're just trying to eat clock by letting yards accumulate. So maybe that's not how they calculate like pass defense. Like maybe it's going to be calculated on something different than that. But that's more so my rationale for picking run defense. Like teams aren't going to be able to run on us.
And fun fact, last year, the Jets defense only allowed one 300-yard passer, which was Joe Burrow in week 3. And that was the turning point of the entire defense after Quinnen Williams got in the face of Coach Whitecott.
Right.
Stop blitzing! And that's all she wrote.
I loved it. That was such a change, like such a momentum swing too. Like, because I remember watching like, what was it? John Franklin Myers got that roughing the passer call, and then like the very next play was like a 60-yard bomb to like Boyd, I think. Oh, miserable.
And don't forget, people were calling for 𝐒𝐵RIC's head after those 3 weeks. Like the defense was not playing well. Week 1 was pretty good defensively. Offensively, it was a nightmare. And then week 2, the defense didn't look that good. We had a miracle comeback win. And then week 3, the defense looked trash against the Bengals. So people were questioning 𝐒𝐵RIC. And then that week 4 happened, went on a 4-game winning streak because of our defense. And then 𝐒𝐵RIC proved to be an actual good play caller, and Salah's defense showed, you know, last to first that quick.
And that was what Quinnen and Reed that spoke up, I think, right? Those were the two?
Yeah, DJ Reed, because there was also, you know, secondary issues that was happening. Remember that miscommunication against the Browns that led up an easy touchdown, and DJ Reed was like vocal, like, dude, we got to be on it. And the reality of the situation is like people in real time were getting frustrated, which was, you know, obviously allowed because you're pissed off in that moment. But it's hard for a secondary that's brand new at the time with Sauce, DJ Reed, and Michael Carter II, and LaMarcus Joyner, all those guys playing together for the first time. to be on the same page communication-wise, which is why I think this year the secondary is going to be even that much better because they're all coming back. It's literally the same exact secondary with just one change of that being 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐬𝐫𝐲, right? So I think the communication aspect of the secondary was trying to figure each other out. They figured themselves out. Quinnen Williams and the coaching staff figured themselves out in terms of don't blitz, rely on the four-man rush, and the formula was there, and then it was just all she wrote.
Yeah, the cohesiveness in a defensive unit, in a team in general, but definitely on the defensive side of the ball where communication is so key. You saw just how dominant Buffalo could be keeping all their guys together. Green Bean brought it up earlier in the stream, that level of continuity year in and year out will stabilize a defense. Because normally defense is like a very hard thing to duplicate year over year. Like last year we were ranked 4th or 5th in defense. This year, I sort of predicted like, okay, I think we're going to be top 10, but it's going to be, sort of a weird, not really a regression, but I just think it's going to be a little different than it was last year. But who knows? I mean, literally everyone's back. I didn't think we were going to have Carl Lawson. I didn't think we were going to have CJ Mosley. And go figure, we got both of them back. You added in some more firepower in terms of Woods, in terms of, Amos. I think the safety aspect is where I'm interested to see where things go. I really wish we were going to have Chuck Clark this year. Having Amos and Whitehead's got to learn to wrap up. I'm sick of these like big time hits with no tackle. He's got to finish it off. Richie, you seeing the same thing in the secondary as far as the safeties go?
Yeah, I mean, I think if there's one question mark on the defense, it's the safeties. I mean, that's for sure. But the one thing that I'll say is LaMarcus Joyner and Jordan Whitehead, I mean, the Jets were so freaking good with them. I think this defense is built to not rely on excellent safety play. Not to say that you don't want to upgrade your position and try to get better safeties, but I think that this Jets defense has proven themselves that they don't need to rely on having an all-pro back there. They can do pretty good with Jordan Whitehead and hopefully 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐲, who's experienced to be, more of a presence out there. And I agree with you on Whitehead. He's more of an all-in or all-out type of player. It's either he makes a big-time pop or he overcommits and just, when you're the safety, you're that last line of defense in terms of that run defense. Like if the running back gets past the first line of defense, which is the lineman, then gets past the linebackers, the safeties are the ones who really prevent a touchdown. And more often than not, he would take piss poor angles and get beat. So I agree with you. Whitehead's got to improve in that aspect, but I also think that this Jets defense is built to not to be elite without having top tier safeties because of how good we are around them.
𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞 hops, and 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞 says, how confident are you that the O-line will stay healthy and who will be all-pro this season? So I'm not confident that this line's going to stay healthy all season. I'm very unconfident. I'm friggin' terrified. It is the most volatile part of this entire team. Like, I don't care about the linebackers. I don't care about the safeties. If this O-line can't block for Rodgers, I'm going to be a lot more pessimistic on things. Now, that being said, even if you had to swap out a player or two, because you have Aaron Rodgers and because he knows how to diagnose a defense pre-snap, he will get the ball out much quicker than Zach Wilson did last year. Zach Wilson, I think, was 28th in sack percentage last year. That's so bad. And that has to do with him running around and doing the pirouettes in the backfield. So the offensive line will look better because of Aaron Rodgers, first and foremost. Now, going across the line, there's question marks everywhere. You got Brown. He's going to be damn near 40 years old. How's he going to hold up after his injury? You got Laken Tomlinson. Hopefully he bounces back to his all-pro form or Pro Bowl form from just 2 years ago. You got who most people assume is going to be Tittman at center. How does he perform as a rookie? AVT coming back from injury. Mekhi Becton coming back from injury. Like, there's just so much uncertainty, but also so much hope, because like Mekhi Becton, the last time we saw him healthy was an absolute juggernaut. Now you're telling me he might be on the right-hand side, maybe not facing having him next to AVT, where the last time he was on the field, who was his left guard at the time? Was it Dr. Guard the last time he played? Who was our left guard?
Last time who played?
At the end, Dr. Blocker.
Mekhi Becton's first year?
Oh, no, that was Alex Lewis.
No, yeah,
oh, that's right.
Crazy.
So I would say
Alex
AVT is a
Lewis.
sizable step up compared to Alex Lewis.
Tomlinson?
No. I'm saying Mekhi Becton next to AVT on the right hand side is better than Mekhi Becton next to Alex Lewis.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. So from a teamwork kind of perspective, Mekhi Becton has never been more motivated than he is this year. I mean, he dropped all the weight. He's literally like in a contract year. So he's going to have to perform and ball out if he wants to get paid big money next year. So I'm not confident they'll stay healthy, but I think there's a lot of hope. And yeah, I don't know. Richie, what are your thoughts on the offensive line?
Yeah, I mean, sorry to break you guys the unfortunate news that the Jets had 5 offensive tackles on injured reserve last year. Like, that doesn't happen. So I'm hopeful that the bug hit us and now we have a resistance to the bug and we kind of have this natural immunity to it where like this offensive line can just stay healthy for the most part. I mean, who the hell is surviving 5 offensive tackles on the injured reserve list? No team is going to survive that. I don't want to make it seem like it's an excuse, but it's just ridiculous that we have to deal with that. But it's hard to have confidence in terms of the health. But I'll say this, I have confidence in the depth. I think Joe Douglas and company absolutely prepared for the worst when it comes to this offensive line. The depth is unreal. Like, we have our starting center for these past 3 years who we've been used to pay $8 million per year. We have him on the team again this year as a backup, potentially signed for $1 million. And we have 5 offensive tackles competing for 2 spots, right? I think we all know the front runners to win those 2 spots. And we have, don't forget Wes Schweitzer and Cologne. I like those 2 depth pieces. Hopefully we don't have to talk about these guys throughout the season because we're healthy. But I think the versatility of this offensive line to have players to play multiple positions. McGovern can plug in at guard if need be. I think that's really awesome for Joe Douglas to really do that. And I think that this is the best that this Jets offensive line has ever looked. I think a big X factor to this O-line is actually Lincoln Tomlinson because, he had a very down year in his debut year with the Jets after giving him a big contract. He was a Pro Bowler the year that we gave him that contract. It's not like he's a bad player. He just didn't look good. And obviously he's still that Pro Bowl player because he was one. So the question is, if he can get back to that, be that durable beast that he is, but be a Pro Bowl level talent, next to whoever wins that left tackle spot with the rookie, and let's go. I mean, we have 3 young studs on this offensive line that really gets me the most excited, that being Joe Tippmann, AVT, and Mekhi Becton, and the other guys are more veterans with younger guys like Max Mitchell and Carter Warren fighting for some spots. But it's exciting time for this offensive line. I think Joe Douglas has constructed this well enough to be prepared for the worst with injuries.
Green Bean, how are you feeling about our offensive line?
I'm right there. I think, it's when you run into people that are negative on it, right? Like Joe Douglas this is what I hear. I don't know if you guys hear. Joe Douglas was supposed to be an O-line guru, right? You hear this. And we're still worried about the offensive line. I think that's a fair point, right? It's fair. You have the folks that are, we should have drafted Tristan Wirfs and all those kinds of things. And maybe that's the case. I think a lot of us back then when he made the pick, we're thinking Tristan Wirfs. Maybe you liked Tristan Wirfs more. Mekhi Becton was kind of a swing for the fences kind of a thing. But so when you look at it, it's like, all right, well, you got Dwayne Brown with his rotator cuff and he's 60. And then you have Laken Tomlinson and he had that down year. Is that a sign of things to come, or was it an off year? Like Richie said, he's a Pro Bowler, man. He was the number 1 guy that I wanted in that free agent class. I remember I was sitting in Sedona, Arizona. I did a live stream going into the free agency, and I was sitting in my car with my computer next to me, and when they signed him, and I was like, yes, like the number 1 free agent target, we nabbed him because of the relationship that he had with our coaching staff and all this stuff, right? And he ended up having a down year, so he's a question mark. Tippmann's a rookie. McGovern is, who knows what, we know what he is, but he's kind of, he's not terrible, but he's not a guy that's going to be considered elite, right? Then you got AVT. AVT hasn't finished the season yet. But we love him. He's great. I think he's all pro level talent, but he hasn't finished the season yet. And then you got Becton and Mitchell, and neither one of those guys, they're both dealing with some health stuff. Hopefully the Max Mitchell blood clot thing is taken care of. But there's question marks all over it. Now, let's say all those questions are answered and they're good. This O-line and the depth behind it can be elite. Like Richie mentioned, Connor McGovern as our backup, and he's versatile. He played guard at a high level in the NFL. So if somebody goes down, we're not bringing on somebody necessarily that's never played. Or if there is 2 injuries, like we have guys like the hell's his name? The Wesley.
Wes
What's his name?
Schweitzer.
Yeah. Wes
Tristan
Schweitzer.
Cologne.
Right, yeah. So we got these guys, Connor McGovern, that can come in and play in the NFL. So I think it's got the potential to be magical, like really, really strong offensive line. But there's questions all over it. So it's scary. And I understand that. I'm on the side of positivity. I think this is the year of Becton. I think there's even a chance, while it's slim, I think there's a chance Becton pushes his way onto the left side. Again, slim. I think if Dwayne Brown is at 100% healthy, and he's fine, the age isn't getting to him, one more year after the surgery. But I think Becton, if he, in the preseason shows that he's an animal, if he's the best guy for the job, having Max Mitchell and Billy Turner kind of mess around for the right side, I think that could be good. So I'm really excited about this camp battle. I think it's going to be one of the areas to watch, and I hope that they're all healthy, because if they are, I think we could be dominant.
I think Mekhi at left tackle, I mean, this is an interesting take from Eddie here, but I agree with you on him being a left tackle, Green Bean.
Yeah, Eddie says Becton will not be starter. I want to be wrong. He thinks Billy Turner starts at right tackle. I could see that. I mean, honestly, with the familiarity with Aaron Rodgers, that might be enough to slot him in there. Now, I don't see that being the case. I would be very surprised if Becton was not one of the two starters, barring some type of injury. Richie, what do you think about this? You think Turner could start at one of the tackle positions at least earlier in the season?
No. Absolutely not. I just think if the only way this happens is simple. Mekhi's hurt. Like, if 𝐒𝐿 Becton's healthy, he is, like, people forget how freaking talented he is because of how injury riddled he is. Like, people are, putting the bus next to Mekhi's name and thinking it's because he's a bad football player, and it's not the reason. The reason is because he was overweight and couldn't handle his body and got injured, which is obviously a big part of being a football player. But we're talking talent here. We're talking pure, like, tackle fundamentals of being an offensive lineman in this league. His talent is off the charts. I mean, it's different what he does. And don't forget what he did as a rookie. He went toe-to-toe with Nick Bosa. He went hand-in-hand with Aaron Donald. The Jets versus the Rams, and at the goal line, I'll never forget it, rookie 𝐒𝐿 Becton shoved Aaron Donald away, and the Jets got a touchdown. Like, I'll never forget rookie 𝐒𝐿 Becton doing that thing. He also did the same thing to Nick Bosa. So that's the last time we got to see 𝐒𝐿 Becton as a rookie, and it's sad because it's been 2 years without him. So the only way 𝐒𝐿 Becton is not a starter this season, in my opinion, is an injury. I think that he has a fire lit underneath his ass. I think he has a transformed mind and a transformed body, and he has all the doubters in the world. And I think that, he understands that this is kind of it for him. Like, if he gets injured again, like, he's done. Like, if he gets hurt, he is not getting a second contract by any team, especially not the Jets. And if he balls out this year, on the other hand, he has a big chance of getting paid. And my prediction actually is him to ball out this season and get a big contract from another team, because I don't see the Jets paying him. So I think it's going to be really interesting. But that's just, I guess, my faith I have in rookie 𝐒𝐿 Becton, because if he's healthy, I think that he is the best offensive tackle on the New York Jets.
Yep.
Do you think they would franchise tag him if that were the case, or you think they'd just let him walk in free agency?
Yeah, I mean, if he dominates that well, like, say hypothetically we're talking like he's a left tackle and plays all games and he's a freaking dominant, it would be tough to see Joe Douglas just let him walk like that. So the franchise tag will definitely be out there. But when it comes to the cap situation, that's a fully guaranteed deal. Like, the Jets have so many financial situations I got to figure out. Like, that's where your expertise is, Ryan. I'll pass it over to you. Can they even handle that financially?
We could do it. You got to add the void years. Now, Quinnen's contract is only the, this year that drops from $9 million to $6 million, and that's like $20 million a year. It goes up over the course of the next few years. But I think there's going to be a point where they're going to hold on to Quinnen, and it's going to say, hey, Quinnen, we're going to add multiple void years at the end of your contract, and we're going to drop your cap hit each year. I think you'll eventually see that with Rodgers in some capacity, unless he restructures and he totally does not make what we think he's going to make. Was it Connor Hughes that was telling us that it's going to be like a contract that no one would believe and see it coming? That's what I'm hoping to get from Rodgers, and then hopefully it resets some stuff. But I don't think he's walking away from $100 million guaranteed or whatever he's got already, in the books.
Yeah, I definitely think a franchise tag with 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞 is possible if he balls out for sure.
Hell yeah.
Green Bean, what about you? What do you think about Billy Turner possibly playing tackle this year, and what do you think happens to 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞 Becton at the end of the season if he plays well?
I get why Eddie's saying that. I mean, Hackett, this is the third straight team in 3 straight years that that he's had Billy Turner. He's taken him with him everywhere he's gone. So that makes sense. I understand that. That said, it's going to be really hard to justify Billy Turner over a snarling, foaming at the mouth 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞 Becton if he's healthy. And then right behind him, a young, strong, relatively experienced. He got his rookie experience. Max Mitchell, he's ready to go too. The big thing on Max Mitchell coming in the draft was he wasn't, he was slight. He needed a year in an NFL offseason program, gained some strength, and he's done that. He came back, he came to OTAs looking svelte, stronger. He's ready to go. And I just feel like Billy Turner is nice, solid depth. I'd be really surprised. I get it, but I doubt it. And if it is, something went wrong, in my opinion.
Chris says, do you really want to see Becton in the preseason, especially the first one? So I think that's an interesting discussion. I want to expand it beyond just 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞 Becton. How do you guys feel about the preseason right now? Do you want to see certain players play, not play? Like, I think we might get like a series out of Aaron Rodgers in one of the games. Like, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of him this preseason. But I also, at the same time, I want to see some continuity, and I want to see some, like, I don't want to go through the early season hiccups of like, oh, hey, we got the Bills week 1 and we're trying to figure it out, or we got the Chiefs week 3 and we're trying to figure it out. Like, there's a lot of I want to see people out there, but I don't want to see people get hurt. So how do we balance that? Richie, I'll toss it to you first.
I mean, the weird thing about this year's preseason is we have an extra preseason game because we're in the Hall of Fame game, which I think, like, the Hall of Fame game, expected nobody to play. Like, I don't even know if Zach Wilson's going to play in that game, to be honest. Like, I think that's going to be, like, the Tim Boyle, Chris Streveler show, and, like, everybody, like, nobody that's going to be playing, like, on the 53-man roster is going to be playing that Hall of Fame game. I think Zach Wilson's going to get his burn in week 1, technically, of preseason. So I think when it comes to the preseason, I always would like to see the offense, the starting offense, get at least one series. But, the injury stuff really scares me. But I think that preseason, based on this Jets team, and especially, I mean, what are we talking about? I totally forgot what happened last year. I mean, Zach Wilson hurt his damn knee in preseason. So when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, I'm totally fine with not even seeing him once. Like, if the Jets decide to do that, I'm all for it. And I think this defense, like Sauce Gardner, Sauce does not need preseason reps like he doesn't. Like Garrett Wilson, they don't need it. Like last year as rookies, they needed it, but they don't need it. Like, protect the stars, let the guys go fight for their roster spots. I can contain my Jets fandom excitement for week 1 against the Bills.
Green Bean, what about you? How are you feeling about the preseason? Who do you want to see play? Who don't you want to see play? How are you feeling?
I want to see Mims. I think we're going to see a whole boatload of Zach Wilson. I think we'll know if we need to bring in a Teddy Bridgewater or something like that pretty quick. 1-2 games, Zach throwing the ball into the dirt. We'll know if he's got to be pushed to the 3. And, this reset idea, hey, I'm on board with it and all that. I'm concerned about him being the number 2. I hope the Aaron Rodgers impact, the Hackett impact, all that stuff is really sticking with Zach Wilson. It's positive so far, right? Everybody's positive. And I'm on board. That'd be great. But if he comes out in the preseason and looks like Zach Wilson from last year, then maybe we can't just bank on if Aaron Rodgers goes down for a week or 2 or whatever it might be, that Zach Wilson's going to come in and be able to maintain the offense and whatever playoff Super Bowl hopes that we have. I think making sure that he doesn't play in the regular season is pretty important. So I think we'll see a lot of Zach Wilson. We'll see a lot of the young guys, man. I think rightfully so. Get your first string, the guys, the Garrett Wilsons of the world, and get them out there, run around a little bit, and get them the hell off the field. No more, Avery Williamson in the late third quarter, because we want to see how he calls the play. We want to just see some stuff. and then he blows out his knee and we never see him again. I don't want to see any of that this year. Just all young guys, all guys trying to make the roster. Brownlee, Irv Charles, all those types of guys. Izzy, let's get them their first NFL field time, and let's just watch and see who we're going to cut.
Jets are going to make this the most boring Hard Knocks of all time. They're not going to give the NFL any satisfaction of having like any star players on the field at all, and it's just going to be like, Tim Boyle playing every preseason snap, and they're going to be like, "Oh, what'd you think about the game this past weekend?" "Oh, Tim Boyle."
Yeah. It's still going to be good, though. Look, they're going to be there at training camp. They're going to be sticking mics on people and all that. And they got the cup. They don't even need the mics on the guys. They have those microphones that can pick up the boom mics.
They got those big, like, satellite dish-looking things. They just aim at someone, and they can hear everything, hear their bowel movements.
The NFL's ready. They're like, all right, the Jets are going to make it difficult, but we got the satellite dish. So we'll get what we need.
Richie, before we do our farewells, what do you think about the Jets' number 2 quarterback position? You think it's going to be Zach, or you think we're bringing in someone else?
Yeah, I think it's Zach. I think Robert Saleh announced that already, bearing him just absolutely turning into the Zach of old of dirting balls, 5-yard outs in the preseason. I think that he's our number 2 quarterback. Not saying I agree or disagree with that decision, but Saleh said it pretty confidently early on, and he didn't really open it up for a competition. He didn't say like, yeah, we'll see come training camp if Zach can be that guy. He said, no, Zach's number 2. And usually I've noticed one thing I've learned about Robert Saleh is when he says something with that much conviction and that much confidence, it happens. I mean, he said we're getting Rodgers before we got Rodgers. Remember that little time frame, everyone panicking like, it's going to fall through. Saleh was so confident, which made me confident. And then again, what happened? We're trying to figure out, is Quinnen Williams being extended or not? Rich Eisen asks him. Robert Saleh is so confident. He's just like, Quinnen Williams is going to be here. That's the last of my worries. And at the same time, Jets fans are freaking out on Twitter. Pay him. What is going on? Saleh said it's going to get done. I have confidence, and it got done. So my point is, when Saleh speaks that confidently, I'm growing to just like take his word, because usually some coaches say those things and they don't come to fruition. Saleh says stuff, they come to fruition. He's taking receipts, they start winning. So I don't know. I'm just a believer in Saleh's word. So hopefully it turns into a freaking playoff win, though.
Boys and girls, we have reached the end of our show. 10 o'clock. Zipped right by there, Green Bean. I just realized we didn't pick like any kind of qualifiers. So anyone that's listening. Oh, you got qualifiers, Green Bean. All right.
I got a bunch from the questions. David Gerard's the last one getting in with his question. Did I miss the rigged contest? So that's a good question.
All right. So let me pull up the random number generator.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I got 15 for tonight.
15 names. All right. So, Green Bean, let's, where's my little thing? Bam. Okay. 15 names. You have what number each one is. Let's go bottom to top.
Bottom to top.
Right?
Got it. Yep.
Number 13. I guess it would be your
13.
second one.
That would be J-Boy. J-Boy is the winner.
J-Boy.
J-Boy with his wife in the shirt pick.
So I'm excited. J-Boy is actually joining us on our group ticket buy for the Jets-Chargers game. But we get to spin the wheel, J-Boy, and let's see what we get you. Let's see. Where's my... I did not open this up in time. Hold on. Give me a second. All right.
Rooting for the pillow, J-Boy. I want J-Boy to get a pillow.
Come on. What am I doing? Oh, I'm in pause.
You're in pause
Logged
mode.
into the wrong account. I'm an idiot.
Happens to the best of us, Rye.
Yeah. That's what happens when you got too much stuff going on beforehand. All right. Bam. Tell me it's not going to go right now because I jacked something up. I definitely jacked something up. Okay. So he's already got the shirt. So let's see that. Let's do this. We'll make it nice and easy. J-Boy, you still in the chat? I don't know if he's in the chat. I don't see him in there.
He's there.
All right. So, J-Boy, let's do this. We'll start next week's show with a prize wheel spin because I didn't set it up. So we'll do that. J-Boy wins something at the beginning of next week's show. Sound good, Green Bean?
I didn't hear you. Next week's show.
Yeah, we're going to start at the beginning of next week's show. We'll do the prize wheel. I didn't set it up the right way, and now it's all jacked up. So,
J-Boy, you win nothing. You get nothing. Zip. Nada.
And you will like it. All right, boys and girls, let's give our closing thoughts. Green Bean, any last words for our panel?
Yeah, well, I took about a month off, but this week, Green Bean's Jets Pod makes its return, so it's out there now. I also want to say that we're going to move the Thursday Thick of It over to this channel, at least for the first quarter of the year. So we will be doing it over here on the Talkin Jets channel for the foreseeable future, at least till October 2nd, and we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'll put it up there on my channel, but the Thursday Thick of It will be held over here, so everybody who wants to check that out can find it on this channel, not Green Bean Jets fan. But yeah, Green Bean Jets Pod out now for your listening and viewing pleasure.
Richie, thank you so much for subbing in for Matt. Any last words for our panel?
Thank you so much for reaching out to me, Ryan. It's a pleasure to always talk ball with you both. Shout out to Matt. I had him on my channel this morning. If you guys want to go check out Matt and myself previewing training camp, that's out on my channel. We talked for an hour this morning. It was a great time chopping up with Matt. I know I can't be as great as Matt. You guys miss Matt. He does a great job, but hopefully I was able to fill in for the great shoes of Matt O'Leary as best of my abilities. But man, it's always a pleasure. The season's about to be crazy, Jets fans, and my message to all of us is just embrace the hype, embrace the excitement. Don't let any other rival fan base or any other hater just try to diminish our excitement by saying it's this year the same old Jets. You're still going to suck. Rodgers is this. Rodgers is washed. Just tune all that out and just know that when you're a team that has high expectations like the New York Jets and actually has a reason to be excited, it comes with more hate. So embrace the hate because that means we're doing something good. So hug the hate just as much as we hug the good. Let's go fucking Jets. We're about to take flight this year, and I cannot wait to be on this ride with you all. It's going to be a pleasure. Training camp tomorrow. We made it. The best offseason in Jets history is over. Now it's time for the best season in Jets history since 1969. Mic drop.
Ooh, I like it. Boys and girls, make sure you grab your ticket, talkinjets.com. We're going to the Jets-Chargers game, Monday Night Football, November, was that 6th? I think it's November 6th. So make sure you get tickets over there. We've had a whole lot of fun talking to you guys. Really excited for training camp. If you're going to be there on Saturday the 22nd, make sure you stop by Richie and myself. We'll be there hanging out, watching all the amazing Hail Mary throws from Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson and everyone else. And it's going to be incredible. And we're going to cry, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun talking with you tonight. This is Jets Talk, signing off. Jets.